What's going on, YouTube? Thank you for watching Mentorship Monday. My name is Matt Faircloth, and this is the YouTube channel for my company, the DeRosa Group. And so the Mentorship Monday series that we have here on the DeRosa Group YouTube channel works like this. You guys email your questions to helpme@derosagroup.com. That is helpme@derosagroup.com. And I will answer your questions right here on the YouTube channel, right here, for you and everyone else to learn from. Now, every here and again on Mentorship Monday, I bring in a guest. And this is an experienced guest sometimes that can help me answer some of these questions, because you guys send us a lot of questions and I want to support you guys and get all your questions answered. And so we bring in a guest and do a speed round. So I got my man, Jason Yarusi, who's a good friend of mine and also a fellow real estate investor. And he's going to help me out. And Jason has not heard any of these questions. I'm going to just start reading these questions off. And he's going to give me his best thoughts, and I will support him, and he and I will discuss these answers briefly in that. So I'll give you the first name of the question asker, and then a rundown of what this person has to ask. You ready?
I am ready.
Prepared.
Let's do it.
To certify, you have
not
seen these questions.
But I have not seen these questions.
You cannot be prepared for this. But you are able, though. You've not seen any of these questions, right?
I have not seen any of these
questions. So Jason has not seen any questions. I've only skimmed them myself and verified that they're valid questions for the channel here, and that's it. So here we are. Here we are for the speed round, guys. Ready? Put your seatbelt on. You put your seatbelt on. Here we go. Right. Okay, so this question comes from Wender. Okay. Hello, Matt. A little background. I came from Peru 12 years ago, and I live in the American dream. It's not so easy. Required a lot of sacrifice and patience. Cool. That's great, man. I love your story. I live in Reading, Pennsylvania. I bought a 4-unit. New tenants started to move in January, and I had a big headache since then. So new tenants moving into his 4-unit. All right, here we go. I called plumbing service 4 times already since February because the main drain line got clogged with baby wipes and people with personal hygiene products. Uh-oh. I suspected the first floor tenant, but they all denied it. What do I do? How do I manage and solve this problem? I told all of them they're going to start paying the plumbing services, but they're not saying da-da-da-da. Okay, so what would you do in a circumstance like this? You got a bunch of nasties going down the drain. You got a 4-unit building, right? So it's 4 units. It's all going down the drain. What would you do in a circumstance like this?
Well, it's tenant training, right? And this is always difficult.
Tenant training.
And this is very difficult, and it happens. We have larger apartment complexes, and it just happens. And for me, I would have never thought it. Hey, I have a shoe. Maybe instead of putting a shoe in the garbage, if it's no good, I'll just try and put it down the toilet, right?
Sure.
But at this point, it's just continuing to train your toilets, putting up notices, putting up things. Just like when you go into a public bathroom, don't flush random objects down the toilet, because who's thinking to flush random objects down the toilet? So ideally, you can't go in there and find something because you really don't have that preface of what it is. But again, it's just going to be that constant message to put in front of them, posting notices, because ultimately it's just going to hurt the tenants, right?
Don't put your nasty stuff.
Yeah, it's going to back up, and all of a sudden they're going to have a mess and they're going to be crying. So it's going to be a hard lesson learned from them, and an expensive bill for you. So unfortunately, on the front end, it's difficult to just basically vet that. Their credit score is 680, so they must throw stuff down the toilet. You can't really get that.
No, you can't.
But at that point, you do have to continue to train your tenants, have rules in place, and if it gets to it, start changing out toilets for lowly flushed toilets, just things that are not going to handle certain objects.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Let's underscore a few things here, right? So first of all, I've got some single family homes. It's very easy to figure out and who to blame it on if you find baby wipes or, feminine hygiene products, or I found, a perfume bottle, a kid's action figure down like a G.I. Joe, right?
That
down
I
the drain.
figure. The kids
and a full-on diaper down the drain. Who does that?
Yeah.
I mean, I have kids, you have kids.
Yeah.
Who would think to flush a diaper down the drain? Well, okay, people do. We found all that stuff in a drain, and it's very easy to blame a single-family home tenant on that, right? But on a multifamily, it's very difficult to blame the tenant on that one, right? Because you don't know. And in this circumstance that our friend Wender is having, right? So Jason brought up a few good points. Put in low flow toilets, because low flow toilets not going to handle that kind of traffic. It's going to stop earlier in the drain and stop right there at the tenant's unit, so be very, very clear who did it. And a low flow toilet will save you on water bills if you've got something like this. And obviously tenant training, we make the tenants sign off on a thing that says, I will not flush this kind of stuff down the drain. So Wender, I hope that helps you out, and good luck with that, training your tenants, and understanding that making, and maybe even just billing all 4 of your tenants for it, and let them figure it out, on who's doing it. So, all right, next question comes from Vernon. Hi, first off, I love your show. Well, thank you, Vernon. My question is, what profit per month do you target on a rental property? I know there's a calculation for value of the deal, but there has to be some sort of minimum if the deal is even worth taking all the risk. I'm looking at a deal where we're putting in $10,000 to get a profit of around $200 a month, right? So what do you think? Do you value deals on dollars per month or for dollars per unit per month? How do you value it?
Well, we're bringing investors onto the deal, so it's really going to come down to the metrics that we need to meet basically the investor's needs. So ideally, if it's a 5-year hold, we want a minimum for an LP limited partner, the investor returns to be an IRR of 14 with cash on cash to be 8% on year, not including the sale. Now, if you look at that, for me, I don't do it per door or the profit per door, but you want to look at, well, what's your time worth? Like, so if you're just going to make $200 a door, what is your goal with this? Is it financial independence? So is that $200, per door per month? That's whatever it is, $2,400, which on $10,000
that's 24%.
Is a good return.
That's pretty good.
But again, is that the highest and best use of your time? And what's going to take for you to get that $2,400 based on that $10,000 investment?
Yeah.
So if you're going to be hands-on active and you're not counting in your time as the property manager and the maintenance guy and admin and leasing, well, then maybe $2,400 isn't that great because ultimately your time is not counting all the things that you're not actually pricing in there.
So it's dollars plus hours. What are you getting out of it, right? So that's to underscore a few things Jason said. That's great. First of all, 24% on the money is great, Vernon. So just stop right there. Yeah. Great deal. But does that factor in management? Is that scalable? Because if you can continue to put money into deals and reinvest over and over and over again, you'll do very well at a 24% return on investment. But are you having to run that property yourself or do a bunch of the daily lifting of it and everything like that to get to that 24%? Right. So look at the global picture of whether or not it's worth it. If that's just one rental, that's going to be all you managing it. That might not be scalable, but it might be a good classroom for a little bit. In that. So and maybe even consider putting in a property manager, taking less cash flow so you can free up your time. Right?
Yeah, if you get, $1,200 back on that, and ideally the other $1,200 goes out to pay, but then you can do 20 of those where you can only do one if you were doing a $2,400. I mean, you get the math.
Is it scalable? That's a big question. Cool. So thank you, Vernon. Next question is from Ben. All right. Okay, thank you for the hard work and the great information on the YouTube channel. Well, you're welcome, Ben. About 2 months ago, I got bit by the real estate investing bug, and my interest is multifamily properties for buy and hold strategy. 20 wants to hold for 20 to 30 years. 34 years old. Lives in Pittsburgh. Here we go to the question. I currently have $10,000 in the bank. I'm able to save about $3,000 to $4,000 a month.
Good.
All right. So I'm able to make a move in 10 to 12 months. In the meantime, I'm trying to educate myself and set up some processes. Obviously, my question is, what 3 or 4 tips would you give a new landlord on how to set up processes to streamline the learning curve? So, so what tips for a new landlord getting going, streamlining the process, and even just reverse engineering it? Like if you were talking to your past self, first getting started, what systems did you figure out later in your real estate business you wish you learned from the beginning?
So you want to set up things like, I'm going to talk, I have some Airbnbs that are short-term rentals, right? And you just constantly get the same questions over and over and over again. So if when a booking happens, they get an automated generated email that basically knocks down all the questions, the usually asked questions out of the way. What's going to save me time from, of course, Airbnb is not happening except on nights and weekends is when you're getting hit. So now it's taking away time for me that they're like, we're around any restaurants, or hey, is there kitchen utensils, or what's the items involved here? So it's ultimately setting up what your lease is going to be, what your application process is going to be, what your leasing standards going to be, where you want to be renting. Because right now for you, you're putting money away, but you also want to think about it from the side of what your savings are. Like how much savings do you have? Because you have to also look good on the bank side too. So if you're putting money out and you're saving this money to get to the point of buying 10 rental properties, well, if, I don't know, $3,000 a month, $4,000 a month is $50,000 close a year, right? Plus the $10,000. So maybe that's a nice down payment. But if you go do that down payment, you put all your money into it. 1, you have no reserves. 2, now when you go to get the next property, you don't have a bank statement, or you're just not going to have it on paper to show the bank that you can do it again. So you want to think about your future plan, and you can align that back in your systems to build into that plan. And it may be bringing on a partner, because if you have time and you have to do the work here, and you can keep that balance sheet. So ideally, that's why we don't want to invest all of our money into the deals, because it's going to limit it on the deals we can do. We're also not going to look strong enough for the bank to continue to go back to the bank.
And that ties into advice to Ben is maybe don't quit your day job just yet. Like save up as much as you can. Keep that wheelhouse of savings, because the fact you're able to save $3,000 to $4,000 a month, that's super impressive.
Yeah.
So keep doing that. And while you're working the day job, saving up all that money, put it into real estate, of course, if you want. But also keep the day job going so you can keep that wheelhouse going, meet other investors, perhaps show them what you're up to with real estate and everything like that. Love the FAQ idea, because just tenants are going to ask the same thing over and over again. There's only been so many questions they have, but everybody asks those questions, right? So whether it's for an Airbnb or whether it's for a long-term rental or something like that, they're going to ask the same questions. So document those questions. Just give people an FAQ document when they go to apply for you.
I also heard this one random fact that for rentals, when you go in there to rent, if you actually, when you go in there and you set them up, you don't just give them the keys and you set them up and say, okay, here's your property, and like, here's the bathroom and stuff. If you actually spend the time, because what's your biggest downturn, right? It's when you have basically a vacant unit and your turn cost. So if you take your tenant and walk them to the unit, show them everything, show them how the microwave works, show them simple things like that, and walk them step through step to the unit, there's some kind of like 35 to 40% success rate of them staying longer.
Retention rate.
Just because you've done that small step. And it was a massive conglomerate that did this because they were having horrible retention. And they found just doing that one step, spending the hour when they lease the property to walk them through every part of it, tenant retention. And now you cut down, how many tenants is that? Say you got 100 unit property, there's 35 tenants that stay in extra point that you're not turning for a year.
And I think that's the last point to Ben, question asker, and for all you guys watching, is the hidden killer of cash flow in real estate is vacancy, right? And tenant retention is the way to fight against that, because I'll take a building that's 98% occupied with rents 5% below market all day long over a property at 85%, 80% of market, 80% occupied at 100% of market. Take that. You don't have to raise rents up to market for everything in exchange for booting tenants out, because then you got to turn that unit over. You've got to put it back on the market. You're going to lose a couple of months of occupancy. Whereas you could just keep the tenant in, keep them there longer term, keep them happy, and implement some ideas like Jason said, and just keep the tenant in longer term and not have to deal with that vacancy, right? 2 more. Jason's on the marathon here, which, by the way, he is a real marathoner. He runs marathons in his sleep. Cool. Joshua, I love your YouTube channel. Yes, I'm a subscriber and I searched your video archive, but I did not find what I was looking for. So my question to you is, what is the best way to determine what rents I should charge? Not only for current rented units, but for new ones. For example, I've lived in a home and decided to rent out my home after I move out. What are the best systematic ways to determine what rent I could charge in addition to boosts on the ground? Okay, got it. So interesting question.
Yeah.
What do you think? What are your thoughts?
So easy answers for you, and one, kudos for you for looking for the answer, because so many people in life just ultimately, when they have an answer, they just go to ask someone a question, and so when they actually need the big question, they actually don't get it because they've wasted all their time instead of just looking up the answer, wasting the nominal question on a person. But for this, we do this all the time, right? You can go on sites like Renometer and just see what's renting in the area. You can go on things like Craigslist, on things like apartments.com, or simply just call other for rent signs and secret shopping. Call them up, or even visit other apartment communities and just say, hey, I'm looking at a 2-bedroom, and whatever they say for the price, say, maybe that's a little too much. How about a 1-bedroom? Just because maybe I was just going to have an extra bedroom just in case for office or friends staying. Yeah. So how much is that? Well, okay, is there any concessions? Is there any rebates? What's the amenity package look like? What are these other things that come with my apartment? Sure. Am I paying utilities, or what utilities are on me? Are you dog friendly, pet friendly? What other charges are going to be beyond my rent? You do that just for the surrounding properties right there. You'll very quickly get a tail on not only what's the rents that are going, how quickly things are moving, because you'll see the concessions, and ultimately maybe some other charges you didn't even think about, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe other things say, oh yeah, we have this storage thing that you pay an extra $100 a month for. Yeah. Well, I don't know, it's $1,200 a year.
Secret shopper is a concept that works really well. Jason and I both use it in both of our different apartment building assets. We encourage our property managers to do the same. I think, Joshua, you're looking to get a rent idea for your home, and so I would go ahead and secret shop your market. Go on Craigslist, go to open houses, go to some showings, and determine what people are asking looking for houses that are similar of the build to what you have on the market right now. So let's say you got 3-bedroom, 1-bath. Okay, go tour a 3-bedroom, 1-bath that's out for rent. Go look to see what they've got. As Jason said, look to see what the amenities are. Do they have a dishwasher? Do they have central air? And start documenting your market that way. You can do Renometer. Renometer's great at apartment building multifamily rents, right? But Renometer does not do the best job when it comes to like valuing single family home or larger than 2-bedroom rents, because it's not as much of a commodity. It's kind of hard to normalize that, right? So if you've got a 3-4 bedroom house, you want to just look on Craigslist. And start and go on a few, and you also look on Facebook Marketplaces. A lot of people are advertising there now too. So cool. All right, last one, man. Cool. Sweat off our brow. Here we go. This is from Christian. Hi, it says okay. But then this email says, "Hi, my name is Carmen." All right, we'll call you Carmen. Okay. Hi, my name is Carmen. I live in Georgia, and I'm now 18 years old. All right. I know I'm barely out of the real world, but my question is, how do I get to the point to invest? How do I build up my money? How do I know what's the right place to invest in? All I want to know is either I want to buy houses or get involved in apartment buildings. So with me being 18 years old, how do I get to the point to have money enough to invest in what I know doing is right? Interesting. Yeah. Now, I should caveat it with this. There are a lot of 18-year-olds and younger folks that are looking for something bigger and better in life. They've emailed me, and you guys might be watching right now, that have reached out to me on the YouTube channel. And I'm really excited that their younger generations are looking for something bigger and better through real estate, right? And so I've been lucky enough to have a lot of these 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 22-year-olds reach out to me that are looking to get involved in real estate, right? So Carmen's question was specifically about saving up money for real estate investing. How does he or she generate that? But let's go further. What would you tell an 18-year-old that is looking to get involved in real estate? Well, if you're talking to maybe not your 18-year-old self personally, but an 18-year-old that's watching right now, that's looking to get involved in real estate, versus maybe not go to college, maybe just get involved in the business in some form or fashion. What would you tell them?
So. Great. I wish I was doing that at 18.
Me too, man.
Right.
First of all, that's right there. I got involved when I was 30 in this business, and I wish I got involved when I was 18. So number one, if you're 18 years old and you're considering getting involved in real estate and you're watching this channel, you're awesome. Congratulations. Keep on.
And money's not everything. And the money's not everything, because I ultimately, how much are you going to save at 18 if you're not going to go out there and do a full-time job? What are you going to be able to put away? So where's that going to get you? But surrounding yourself with the right people and learning on a higher level, because I could tell you to go buy apartment buildings. I could tell you to go buy single family houses. I could tell you to go wholesale. I could tell you to do a million things, and all of them can be right and wrong. It's because you don't know what you're going to like and what's going to really fit with you and fit with your model, right? So ultimately, it's going to say pick a space and try it, but surround yourself. There's meetups everywhere. If you go on meetup.com, you can find a meetup that's out there. Get around other people that are doing it successfully, and you'll see what they've done. And it's such an open environment. If you watch the tips and tricks that people are doing, you're going to learn so much from the steps they're taking, but you're also going to learn, they've already made the mistakes, right? So you can look at it and say, okay, hey, don't do this because I already made that mistake. You don't need to make that mistake. And ultimately, if you start out trying to flip houses and it's not for you, well, you at least found that out. But if you sit here trying to figure out the space you want to be in, you never get started, because they're all either going to look good or they're all either going to have some red flag. That's just the world. Yeah. So get out there, try something, build your team around you, because you're only at this age going to be successful with what you know, and you may not know everything because you're young, but you're getting after it. You're also surrounding yourself with people who do know. So when you get caught in whatever scenario or you need an answer, well, you built that person into your team.
That's a great point. And I think that Jason hit up on a great point here, is that if you're 18, unless you're making north of $100,000 a year or something like that, you're probably not going to save up enough money for you yourself to get involved in real estate in the first year or two, right? So I think that it's better to just network, get to know all the different people in real estate, perhaps work for a company that's very active in real estate, do an internship, maybe get your real estate license, just find a way to really super build your network, and the path will start to become evident to you as you immerse yourself in the real estate investing space. And also, as soon as you can qualify for a mortgage, consider a house hack. Go out there and buy yourself a duplex. You can get into a duplex or a triplex or whatever for 3 to 5% down, so you don't need to have $50,000 or $100,000 to get into a deal. You could probably buy your first home as an 18-year-old for $5,000, $10,000, something like that, right? And that's a lot easier for you to save up. My first rental was a house hack. Was a 3-bedroom, 1-bath that I lived in. I've rented out 2 bedrooms to 2 buddies of mine, right? And I lived in one room. 2 buddies of mine lived in the other 2 rooms. Each guy paid me $500 a month, and my mortgage was $940. So I was making $60 a month and living there for free. This is 26, 27 years old, right? So for you now, you're a bit younger, and that's okay. You could probably still make that happen within a year or 2, right? But as Jason said, build the network fast. So you and I hear more about this brilliant person, Jason Yarusi. How do they hear more about what you and your wife Peely are up to?
Yeah, so you can go to YarusiHoldings.com, YARUSI You can find our podcast on all the major platforms, the Real Estate Foundation, or follow me on Instagram. I run a ton, and it's at Jason Yarusi, and you can see me running a lot of places.
He's literally running marathons in real life, and he's also running the marathon of real estate investing because, as Jason's already said, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon in this business. So I hope to have Jason back on the YouTube channel soon. Talk to you guys, lay down some more knowledge for you guys for Mentorship Monday. Jason, thank you, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Cool. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great, profitable week.